So I want to take a moment and try to explain a little bit about the fourth dimension, right? So what is the fourth dimension? And I mean the fourth spatial dimension, because a lot of people like to talk about time as being like the fourth dimension, but really you can think about a fourth spatial dimension. And so the best way to kind of consider what's going on there is to use the analog and dump it down from us in the third dimension to a two-dimensional world. So imagine there's a whole universe of people and they're all living on like a giant piece of paper. They're in a two-dimensional world and they only move around on that two-dimensional plane, the piece of paper, right? So I stick my hand down into their two-dimensional world. So here's a picture. This arrow is a guy looking up at me, sticking my fingers into his two-dimensional plane, right? I do this, he is going to see this. 4 one-dimensional lines that represent the cross-section of my fingers as they go into his two-dimensional world. I put my hand a little bit further now, right? Maybe I drop it in like this so that my thumb is this little guy and this whole business is my hand right here. Cross-sectionally, he is going to see a line here and another line here. And to him, this will make total sense. He'd be like, oh, you know, that's this object that he's looking at. He's going to see this move into this as I move my hand into his world. So if a fourth dimensional being then were to come into the third dimensional world, what would we see? So when I look at a three-dimensional object, my eyes have a little bit of depth perception, but really all I'm seeing is sort of like a picture of something that represents a three-dimensional object, but I can only really see in 2 dimensions, you know, height and width. I can't really see depth. I can't see the depth of a solid object for sure. So if a fourth dimensional being were to move through our three-dimensional world, I'd see like a morphing, crazy whack job object, just kind of doing its all weird shape-shifting thing. And that's on a basic level what a fourth dimensional being would look like to us. There's a lot more I can talk about regarding this topic, so future videos to come. But every time you look at a piece of paper and a drawing and you imagine yourself as some like crazy sentient three-dimensional being looking down on that two-dimensional world, just think of how crazy it would be if you just like jammed your fucking hand in there and like everybody would be like, whoa, what's that crazy morphing line doing in our universe? Alright, that's it.